welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on the Iron Crafter Challenge for the month of December. This is a hop that Anna over at Peace Craft Love Clubhouse and I put together to help us use up some of the stash items that do not get enough attention or gather dust. And for the month of December, our item is FLAIR. Now, I kind of feel like I'm cheating a little bit because I'm going to be using these pieces of FLAIR, and that has been coming from my some assemblage required advent calendar that I've been opening up daily. But I had these photos here already printed out and ready to go. In December of 2015, on my daughter's birthday, her 19th birthday, this daughter, we went to see this movie, part 2 of The Mockingjay, as a family movie night kind of thing. And what's awesome is several of the days from the advent calendar had embellishments that I could use for this layout. So that's pretty cool because this is just one of the layouts I had set aside ready to do. My only problem is the photos came from those groove books that you've heard me complain about multiple times because the pictures are terrible and they're sized funky. It is like 4 and just over a 1/4 inch by not quite 6 inches. It's like 5 3/4 of an inch, which makes it kind of hard to size them. Anyway, so because I was using my advent calendar items for this layout, I had to find papers that kind of had that same color scheme or close to it, and I chose Vicki Bouton's Fernwood. I do have her pack of embellishments here from that kit in case I want to dig through and find some extra stuff. I believe I'm going to have plenty of embellishments here to choose from. I did print out the movie poster so that I could scrap that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video, make some cuts, and in just a minute I will come back with the camera sped up and we'll get this layout put together. Right off the bat, I made a mistake. I had considered using the sunburst side of this pattern paper, and then I had changed my mind and decided I was going to use the floral side instead. But when I cut it, I didn't cut it in half so that I had 2 6x6 pieces. I don't know what I was thinking, y'all. I don't even know. Anyway, it's not that big of a deal. I just put the strip down below the one side and it works out fine. The other thing is that was a piece of pattern paper from the paper pad and it's not 12 by 12. Not my favorite. Anyway, so I'll have to trim off that little tiny sliver of white on both sides of my layout just because it's bothering me. And you know, if it was a lighter piece of pattern paper, I might get away with ignoring the fact that it's not 12 by 12, but I can't. The stripe is 12 by 12, and I was able to cut a 1/2 inch by 12 inch pieces. I cut 4 of those, and I'm using those to border my floral bit, and I'm having a little trouble with my ATG. Anyway, so I'm putting the striped floral on top and bottom, and now I'm going to start looking at my photos. I have trimmed them down, and as I mentioned, I printed the movie poster out since that was the movie that we went to see that night, and now I don't have that great of a memory that I remembered that. I had to ask my daughter, who also couldn't remember, and she actually Googled what movies were playing that year, so that's how we figured out which movie it was. I had thought that it was probably one of the Hunger Games movies, but I wasn't sure. And anyway, the other irony in this is I just finished reading the books again, so it was nice to come up with these pictures and Anyway, I don't know about you if you read books, but I tend to read quite a bit, and there are times when I'm reading that when the book is end, it's like my brain can't come out of that world. I get so immersed into my reading that I even dream about the world. And so, yes, I've been dreaming about Katniss's world, and it's quite disturbing. But anyway, I did finish the books, and we're going to start watching the movies again as well. We did see the prequel, and that was a really good movie as well, and I read that book as well. Anyway, so what am I doing here? So I knew that I was going to cut down some strips, and I was going to make some banners. I was just kind of trying to decide where they were going to end up. Originally, I thought they were going to end up on page 2 in between the two photos, and that is not going to happen. And I also discovered, because of the weird wonky sizes of my photos, that I'm going to have to trim down the photos a little bit more so that I can fit my journaling card. That's one of the cut aparts from the collection. So I had already glued down that little journaling card, and I'm going to cut off the green on either side so that I have a little bit more space for that second photo. And then I'll glue down the second photo, and I'll trim it off at the same time that I trim off that white edge from where that pattern paper doesn't reach all the way to the end. And so first I'm going to check and see, yeah, I don't think I'm brave enough to do it that way. So I decided not to cut it off with the trimmer before I glue it down, and I just glue it down. It's going to be hanging off that page, and that is just fine. So now I'm taking the washi tape off the top and bottom of my layout because I've put together the background and it's even, so I don't have to worry about that. And so here's mistake number 2. I glued down my Mockingjay movie poster, and I trimmed that white bit off with my new Tim Holtz trimmer. Y'all, I love this trimmer. It cuts like butter. It is an amazing trimmer. I also love that I can get just as fussy cuts as I do with the Fiskars, which is why I have refused to give up my Fiskars, although it is damaged by the manufacturer. The actual trimming bed is not even. And yeah, I know that's crazy, and they're aware of the problem, but they're not going to fix it, so I didn't want to replace it with another one of those trimmers. Anyway, so I have all of these little tiny scraps of paper, and so what you're going to see me do now is begin to make banner pieces. I start with the thinner ones, and I'm going to just cut those with scissors and try to get them as even as I possibly can. Then I have my son, who happened to walk in the room where I was recording, and hand me my banner punch, and I'm going to trim the wider pieces with that banner punch so that they're more uniform. I am not great at cutting them by hand. That was the whole purpose in purchasing this banner punch. I do wish that they would come out with one that does smaller pieces as well. I bought the one from We Are Memories Keeper. I think they called it a washi punch. I hated that thing. I ended up putting it in a traveling box and it disappeared. I hope whoever got it loves it. I hated that thing. Anyway, so this banner punch came from Hobby Lobby, and what I had my husband do, because the smallest width it has on there is 1.5 inches, and I had my husband go in and measure and trace out with pencil 1 inch. So I have a 1 inch marking on there. And again, I'm going to cut the smaller pieces with my scissors, and I'm just kind of layering these up. So I know as I'm working on this that I am absolutely going to put some stitched lines on those banner pieces to help them stand out and to add a little texture. I'm not going to do that on camera. I did promise somebody that I would eventually do a video of me explaining how to hand stitch, and I'll get to that sometime in 2024. But for now, I'm going to just kind of, I'm happy with the way everything is going. Oh, and I mentioned here's my second page. I don't know if I've done it yet. I think this is where I actually do it. I drop my one of my banner pieces on that photo after I've put glue on it, and it sticks right on that photo, and I can't, even with an adhesive remover, I can't get it off. I think this is where I do it. I drop, yep, right there, and you see I lost all of the adhesive right there on the photo. I tried off camera to get that adhesive off the photo. It didn't come off, so I ended up just reprinting the photo, which, okay, so I wasted a piece of photo paper and ink, but it is what it is. There was no salvaging that. So the green piece isn't quite long enough, and so you're seeing me piece together 2 green pieces to make one longer banner. And now I'm just kind of putting together all of the other little pieces, deciding what it is that I want to use. So you can see the stitching that I put on my little banners. There are only 3 straight lines. It didn't take very long to do that, and I love the texture that it gives and the little bit of definition that it also provides. So I'm going to use the piece of wood veneer that says Movie Night. I am gluing down the matching stars that also came out of that package. There are 3 stars on that left side, and then I'm also put in 3 pieces of the popcorn. I added one of my FLAIR from my advent calendar over in that embellishment cluster as well. Down here on the right hand page, bottom left, I add another piece of the wood veneer, a FLAIR, and 3 of the little popcorn pieces. And up by my journaling card, which I've already journaled on, I add another piece of FLAIR. All right, I got this layout completely finished. These embellishments were so much fun to work with. I don't think I've had any of MK's embellishments before. I think this is the first time I'm actually playing with any of them. I am thrilled with my advent calendar, and so if you would like to see some of the things that I've received in my advent calendar, there is a video, very short, each day on my Instagram account, which will be linked below for you. Also, I want to thank all of the ladies who are participating with us this month. I know that December is incredibly busy with Christmas and the holidays that are upcoming. This particular layout is for one of the December birthdays that we have in our home, and so I get how busy December is. I want to thank you so much for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. If you are not a subscriber, I would love to have you subscribe. You can also click the bell down there and YouTube will notify you when I put out new content. I'm trying to get out 2 to 4 videos per week. For the month of December, it's going to be closer to that 2 mark because, again, it's busy. Also, if you would like more information about how to get involved with the Iron Crafters Challenge, that information will also be in the description box below. You can join the Peace Craft Love Clubhouse community group on Facebook, and I will be posting an event each month throughout 2024 with a new mystery ingredient. I did take a poll to see what our members are interested in using up in their stash, and so I have a new list, and it's not in any certain order. It is all mixed up, so even if you look at that list and say, oh, I see what they are, you may not know where they fall on that list. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your day and have a great weekend. Bye.